Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what we're going to do is I've got to get rid of this ant mound. I've got a big fire ant mound right here, and if you live in Florida, man, we get them all over the place. And I know pretty much all over the country these things have really become a pain. Now I don't want to put any kind of poison down to kill them because I've got a goji berry right here. I've got longevity spinach all throughout here as a ground cover, and then back behind it I've got my fig tree. Obviously I don't want none of that poison to get up into the food that I'm making, and then, you know, by extension up into my body. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a sustainable way, completely free, well, not completely, I guess you got to pay for the water, but a way that I have been using for a long time and has proven to be very successful for me on how to get rid of an ant mound. So when you got an ant mound you got to get rid of, the best way I have found is take a piece of rebar and go down and poke a hole. Now you want to go down as deep as you can inside that hole mound. Wow, that's a deep mound. Look at that. That's at least 3 foot deep. All right, right down the middle. You get them holes poked in, and then what you do is you take your hose, put it on your highest setting for a penetration, and you just hose it down inside there. You want to get that down as deep as you can. Now I grab the hose a ways back because you'll sometimes get up onto the hose and try and fall down your fingers and bite the snot out of you. But the goal here is to turn this into mud. Now everybody will tell you, yeah, but ants can swim. Well, what we're trying to do here is not just kill ants, which, I mean, you know, we'll kill a whole bunch of these ants. And I'm making a mud hole, and you're not going to be able to make it up out of that mud before they suffocate. But a lot of ants will survive, but the eggs and the queen hopefully will not. Punching those holes down deep into the anthill allows that water to penetrate all the way down where the queen ant and all her eggs are stashed at. So you just hose it down real good, turn the whole thing into a mud hole. And voila, you should have one dead anthill. Now keep in mind there's a good possibility as you spray that you could get ants on you, and some of them will come back out. And I've even had it happen to where the anthill tries to reform, but I'll come back and I'll hit it again the next day, and that should solve the problem with this particular anthill. Now you can see that is literally teeming with ants. They are all over the place. All right, and you want to kind of avoid that spot for a little bit because they're going to just swarm everywhere and try and, you know, fight off whatever's attacking them. But that should have penetrated down deep into that anthill and hopefully killed the queen and most of the eggs, if not all. All right, I'm going to hit this again one more time, and then we're going to go to another spot. I'm going to show you that one. All right, so another issue I got is this pot right here. And you can see it is chock full of ants. They're all over the place. So that's going to make it very difficult for me to pick the fruit on my little tomato plant. And you can see I've got a tomato growing right there. Pretty little tomato. All right. But all that started in here in the greenhouse. And apparently there was an anthill, or they developed an anthill right there where I had that plant sitting. And then they took and mounded the dirt up so that they could climb up into the bottom of that pot. I've got a lot of ants in that pot. So the issue is I can't really take that pot and soak it in a bucket of water, which is another way you can get rid of ants. if you can fit your pot into a big bucket of water, completely submerge it, they'll either die or move on. But I can't really do that. So we're going to go ahead and use that method that I used on the big anthill, but we're going to modify it just a little bit. So now it's a little bit different if you're doing it in a pot. So I'm using a smaller, this is like basically something to poke into it with. This is basically one of them tomato stakes. Now you could do this with a stick or anything that's going to get down to the bottom. Now the issue is going to be that I am going to mess with my roots on this. Alright, probably going to break some roots, and it may cause problems with the pot, but I can't really afford to let this continue as is. So once again, I want to punch them holes, with the idea being that the water needs to be able to penetrate into where the queen ant and the eggs are. Alright, because the goal is not really to kill all the worker ants, so as many I kill of those, the better. But the goal really is to get the queen and the eggs dead to the extent that's possible. So we're going to take this and I'm going to target it down in there. A little less pressure, mostly because I want that water to get down deep. As deep as I can get it. To close up basically the nesting spot for the queen and the spot where the ant, I mean, they're amazing engineers. They'll actually devise a system whereby they create a cave that drains so that the water can go past and the eggs and the queen remain safe. Well, that's what I'm trying to defeat here, is ant engineering. And I'm going to soak that down real good. And if I got to add some more dirt in, I'll add some more dirt. But I can tell I'm getting down because I see a lot of the ant eggs popping up to the top. And I've done this before with many anthills successfully, but I've never done it in a pot. So now hopefully this will work as well as it does on the anthills. And I'm going to tell you, man, this has been hugely successful for me. The beauty of it is it's completely sustainable. There are no chemicals being tossed in there. There is no issue with, as far as I can tell, any kind of sustainable issue that might come up. It's a beautiful thing because all I'm using is just water and a good solid jet of water penetrating down as deep as I can with the hopes of creating mud and collapsing the ant hill in upon the queen ant and the eggs to drown them out and to kill off that queen ant. That's the whole goal here. You can kill all the worker ants you want and it's not going to do you any good if that queen survives. Now, I have done this in the past and it's been successful. A couple of times I had to come back the next day and do it again because ants will start to reform ant hills. So I'll just simply come back on the next day after they started to rebuild, find out where them holes are, once again punch holes down into the deepest recesses of the ant hill, as far down as I can go, and then fill it full of water, collapse it in on itself so that the ant and the queen ant and the eggs are covered by mud. Keep in mind, you don't want, like if you have really well drained soil like I do, you got to keep that water content up so that the ants actually drown. So you want that as wet as possible for as long as possible. Alright, so that's how I go about killing off my ant hills without using any kind of poison, without using any kind of bad anything. I know some people talk about boiling water, but if I poured boiling water on it, it would kill my plant. Other people talk about everything from grits, which I have not tried, I don't really know whether or not it's going to work, and various other things. But for me, this has been very successful. Like I've said, I've done it multiple times, and the ants will, at a minimum, they will move out of your garden space. And in this particular instance, if they move out of this pot, I'm completely fine with it. So anyway, that's how I go about killing ant hills here at Jim Bob's Garden without the use of any sort of chemicals or anything other than just straight up water. So thanks once again for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Share it with your friends, and most importantly, grow something and kill ants. If we kill off as many of these stinking red ants as we can, maybe the population will go down. Yeah, right, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, thanks once again for stopping by.